Hello, everyone, and welcome to another episode of the Board Game Mechanics. I'm Katie, and with me, as always, is...
Hey, everybody, what's going on? It is Jason.
Yes, it has been a long time. Hi, I'm Katie. We have met before.
It's been a minute. It has been a minute.
I realize it's been a minute, and I'm sorry about that. It's highly likely that it was all my fault. So I apologize profusely.
No, it's not actually your fault. There have been a couple nights I was like, I don't really want to do it tonight.
We used to be like really on schedule and stuff, and then I think just life shifted and we haven't found a good timing to do it. And like summer, now we're heading to summer, and summer is always bananas around this place. So I can't promise it's going to get better, but know that we're not going to leave you like ever.
Correct.
Like,
here's the deal that I'll make you to everybody who's listening. There will be at least one episode every month. Okay, how about that? I think we can manage that.
Yes, we definitely can manage that. I'm hoping to do better than that. Yeah, we used to do every week, and that just turned out to be a pace that we couldn't keep up with.
It's too much. It's too much with kids and everything else. It's too much.
Yeah. I feel like our life continues to get more complicated, but I really love doing the podcast, and I really appreciate that you guys are always hanging around like, hey, yeah, we're here whenever. So we'll keep making content. Jason just is better at putting out the videos on a more regular basis than I am at sitting down with him to record the podcast. So here we are.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, the videos I have that down to a science now, so we're good.
On further notes of mediocrity, I will not be giving any news tonight. But not because there's no news to give necessarily, and I think there is. My correspondent in the field has sent me a couple interesting things. I think it was like
he's gonna quit at some point.
There's an expansion to Black Sonata that I thought you'd find interesting, and of course, House of Fado.
Oh yeah, is that Shakespeare solo game?
Yes.
Oh yeah, I did see that. That does look cool.
So it's a reprint of that game in a new expansion, but House of Fado or Fado from Uncle Vital and whoever his. I think he has a co-designer on that one, are all worth mentioning, but I don't have super details on them because it's been a while since we've been on here, and we've played a lot of games, and I just think there are other things that we can talk about as opposed to news. I apologize. I could go on a lengthy rant about Kickstarter right now because we were talking about it in the car tonight after dinner, but you don't need me to get my soapbox out again.
No, I already talked about with the Board Game Rundown how much we like booby minis and all that stuff. So, and that we have a whole collection in our back room and all that kind of stuff. So
I have like a whole different soapbox about Kickstarter that I was going to talk about. It had nothing to do with the booby minis, but I think we already had one like rated E show about that. I don't think we need to.
Yeah, that's probably true. We should probably keep it pretty mediocre. Yeah, we'll just do that
at the PG level.
All right, so we're going to talk about a few extra games today in the Games Played section because we had Mike and Bob from the Board Game Rundown come hang out at our place, and we had a whole day and then like 4 hours of the night before of games, maybe 5 hours of the night before. So we're going to talk about some of those games, and then maybe some that we didn't play with them. Who knows how it goes.
It's true.
So the first game we're going to talk about is actually one that we did play with them. And it is a game that I've wanted to play for a while. It's a game about throwing people into a volcano. How cool is that? And it is called The Downfall of Pompeii. This is effectively, I don't even know how to describe it. You're playing these cards. You have these cards in your hand. And the card is going to reference these different sections in these buildings around Pompeii. And you're going to play a card, and you're going to put a person in that building. There will come a point where if after, like, there's a volcano, some kind of card comes out. But then once you start putting a person in that building, if someone else goes to that building, then you can put down you can put down extra people because there's already people in the building. So you're trying to get as many of your people out into the city as you can, into these different buildings, to try to prepare yourself for the second half of the game, which is the lava flow, because Pompeii, volcano, you know all that story. So then after everybody's got their as many pieces as they can out on the board, then what you're trying to do is you're trying to get your pieces out of one of these, I think like 8 exits around the town. And you're trying to do that before you get burned up by lava, or somebody burns you up with lava and ends up throwing you in the volcano. And so you're going to pull a tile out of the bag. You're going to put it in an appropriate spot, either a starting spot or next to another tile of the associated type. If there's someone on that tile, the pieces go into the volcano. And then you get to move some of your pieces 2 spaces away, or more if they're with more than a certain number of pieces. And then you're trying to get your pieces out the door. That's it. You can burn up doors. You can block doors from being able to get accessed. And the game will be over when there's no more legal moves or everybody's out. And then whoever has the most pieces outside of Pompeii, each person you get out is a point. And if there's a tie, whoever has the least amount of people in the volcano is the winner. This is a game I've wanted to play for a long time, just for the sheer fact of throwing little discs into the volcano. That sounded fun. And it was very fun. We made little noises unnecessarily, but it was fun. It's a simple game. It really is a simple game. You're placing people on the board, and then you're running away from the lava. That's the whole entire game. It's the same designer as Carcassonne, so there's a little bit of the tile placement stuff that he likes. But yeah, I really enjoyed this game so much that we'll be having a copy showing up here soon. So what do you think about the Downfall of Pompeii?
I'm still salty that I lost. And I honestly think I lost because I was just too good at putting my pieces out there in the first half. So I felt like I had placed a target on my back in that way. So I did have the most pieces out, but I was tied for the most pieces, and people came after me pretty hardcore. So I had like a ton of dudes in the volcano.
You really did.
I had a ton, but I still managed to get out a lot too. So I feel like that was wise. I just had so many to work with, and then people were salty about that and killed my dudes.
Well, it really is just a game where you're just trying to burn people up. That's the whole thing. The only thing you really want to do in this game is throw people in the volcano.
Yeah, and of course when you throw them in, you're going to be like, ah, and make noises. They are just cubes. I think meeples would even up the
awesome.
Joy level a little bit more.
Yeah.
But yeah,
really
I enjoyed it. It is a simple game, and like I think it lends itself to be taught pretty easily because there's like different phases. So I feel like in some ways you kind of want to know an overview of how to play the game, but you definitely don't want to like give all of it. You don't need to give every single rule away right at the beginning. Like saying like, okay, in this first part, you're going to be playing cards to place people in different buildings. Here's why you might want to place some people in different parts because of the next phase. And then you can explain the rules to the next phase where you are migrating,
running away.
Well, but you also have the phase where you can like make friends.
Like, oh yeah, there's 2 phases of placement, kinda. Yeah, that's true. That's true.
And then there's the running away phase. Run away. But it's so I think it's light. It's also very quick. So light and quick, and even if, like, let's say the first time people didn't catch on to the rules, it would be super easy to just turn around and play another round or another game. And I do like games like that. So I'm excited that we're getting a copy of this. I knew Jason couldn't resist a good gimmick, like a volcano.
I love gimmicks so much. I do. The game could be terrible. You can put a good gimmick in there, and I'm probably going to love it.
He's like, wow, this game is complete crap, but man, there's like this weird little wheel in here, and I just can't help myself.
Yeah, that sounds like me.
Yeah, so I did really enjoy Downfall of Pompeii.
All right, so another game we played with Mike and Bob is a game that I got in a trade from Joel, who used to host a podcast. If you've been around for a long time, he hosted for about 100 and some episodes, and it is called Chinatown. And this is a game with some questionable naming decisions on tiles, but it's effectively a game about trying to build these different businesses in different blocks of Chinatown. And the way you're doing that is you're going to be getting some cards that are going to give you a property number. It's like 1 through 80 something. And then once everybody gets the cards, they're going to pick some that they like, and they're going to claim those properties as their own, kind of like Lords of Vegas, similar vibe. Then what's going to happen is you're going to get some building tiles. There's going to be different types of buildings going from numbers 3 through 6, and that's how many of each type you have to get a complete set. So a 3, you need 3, 6, you need 6, so on and so forth. And then you're going to trade. And what you're trying to do is you're trying to trade anything. You can trade anything. You're trying to trade properties with other people. You're trying to get businesses that you want. Because ultimately what you're trying to do is you're trying to get properties that you own next to each other so you can get these building tiles out in groups to earn money. The whole point of the game is to have the most money at the end. If you can get a whole group of 6 buildings down, complete, early, you're going to make a butt ton of money. But you may do a couple threes, and you get a couple threes down early, you can make a bunch of money. So you're just trying to negotiate, get these plots how you want organized to score money. That's it. The mechanics of the game are almost non-existent, really. You take a card and you put a token down on that spot, but the rest of the game relies on above the table play, which is with the people and the negotiation and all that stuff. So I like this game. It's not one that I need to play a lot because I don't love the negotiation. I'd probably play it a couple more times maybe, but it's not one I'm probably I'll probably end up trading it eventually, but it is fun. I did like it. With a great group, it'd probably be, it's going to be group dependent for sure. If you're really in a negotiation, cool. If not, not going to be a game for you. So what'd you think about Chinatown?
I'm not into negotiation because in real life I am into negotiation. So when I negotiate, I'm really negotiating relationally and not strategically. So I stink at these games, and I did not do well. The names of the different establishments, I would go so far to say, are completely racist. But
they're definitely not good. They're definitely not good.
Just let me say it. You can stay out of it. I know how you try to be all PC and whatever. People can hate me. I don't care. People think I'm annoying. So I think that they're racist names. Again, you could cover them up and put something completely different on there.
It doesn't even have to have a name. It can just be a number.
Right.
It doesn't matter.
I honestly was confused. I thought they were just numbers. And I'm like, oh, they're actually different types of things with the same number. Shoot, I didn't even realize that. Yeah, it was okay. The biggest excitement was like, ooh, what cards am I going to get, and where am I going to put out like my tokens to see which areas I have claimed.
Correct, because you can intentionally pick something that's right in the middle of somebody to tick them off, which is pretty fun.
Yeah, and for negotiation fodder and things like that. So overall, it's fine. I will encourage you to trade this.
Yeah, I probably will after. I'll probably play it like one more time, but yeah. But we have a couple other games that do trading, like Coliseum trades. I feel like there's more game to that as well.
Yeah.
It's not just the trading. Even Lords of Vegas, there's more game to that as well. But yeah, it's fine. I see why people like it if you're in a negotiation. It's just our group doesn't play a ton of that stuff.
Yeah, it's okay. It's okay. Just not my cup of tea.
So next is a game we did not play with Mike and Bob. I think the weekend before we played with, we went to visit our friends Nicole and Jonathan, and they had a game that Nicole had a game she was super excited about because she loves this show on Netflix, and it is called The Great British Bake Off Game. And I was skeptical right away because when people bring out games that are not normally gamers, I get worried. For good reason, I get worried. But she brought it out. I was like, okay, it was fine. They punched it out. She read through the rules. Katie helped her read through the rules. And what this game is it's effectively a real-time, simultaneous play where you have this deck of cards of like these different ingredients or like toppings or whatever, crusts. And you're trying to use these cards as fast as you can to build this certain pattern of cards to build a different type of baked good. There's a whole bunch. I don't even remember what they were. I don't care. They're just patterns. And you have 3 different discard piles you can use. You can only ever draw off the top of the discard pile, so you can either draw from your deck or the top of any discard pile. And you're trying to be the quickest you can to bake these things. The quicker you get it done correctly, the more points you're going to get. There's some cards that you can use that are not very good cards, but they help you complete it, but they're going to cause you to not get a lot of points. It was surprisingly more entertaining than I thought it was going to be. I enjoyed it. I don't really love real time, but the little puzzle of putting the cards together was fine, and I had a good time with it. So, yeah, I liked it. So, how'd you feel about this one?
I was absolutely terrible at this game. I don't know why.
I think you beat me, so I don't know what you're saying.
I don't think I did. I don't know. I did terribly. It was fun. I've actually never seen the Great British Bake Off. I know for some people that is like a true crime because I have lots of friends who really love it. And I love cooking shows. I just haven't happened to watch this one because I don't like baking as much as cooking. That's a whole other. That's a
nice.
Sidebar.
They're too nice.
No, I like it when they're nice. I like it when people are nice. I hate it when they like are mean to each other and.
No, I want the judges to be mean. I don't want the people to be mean to each other.
Yes, you do. You like to watch the mean ones.
I like when the judges are mean.
No, you like it when they're mean. Like Cutthroat Kitchen. Everybody's mean to each other.
I do love that. That is awesome.
Okay, see? I told you. You don't even know. Which is fine. So, like, the theme was whatever. I don't mind the theme, but in my mind, I'm like, okay, I'm going to try to accomplish this and meet all the goals. And sometimes the cards just don't come out that way, but I think it is definitely, I had very low expectations and it actually, exceeded them. So it's not a bad little game. And particularly if you love the British Bake Off, I think if you have like the catchphrases down or, you can throw in some like inside jokes and references to it, you would like it even more.
Yeah. For a game that is basically like a mass market target game, it definitely had some game in it. It wasn't just cashing in on an IP for sure.
Yeah.
All right, so back to Mike and Bob. They really, Mike has this game on his shelf, and he wanted to learn it. So I taught everybody Rococo. Katie's played it, but I taught Mike and Bob Rococo, and it was a hit, needless to say. So if you haven't played Rococo, it is a game about making coats and dresses. You are a tailor, journeyman, apprentice, and you're using these cards of these different types of workers to gather good materials, and then spend those materials to make different types of coats and dresses. And then you're either going to put them on display in the ballroom to get like an area majority kind of point, or you're going to sell them for money because you always need money because some of the dresses you have to pay for, you have to pay for goods, you have to hire workers, all that kind of thing. And then after so many rounds, you're going to score up the dresses that you have on display. If you're in the top row, you can kind of move up to the fireworks, make some of your dresses worth more points. And yeah, that's it. That's a high level overview. There's more stuff to it, but it's a really fun deck building mechanism where you always have your cards to pick through, and you pick 3 of them. And as you buy new cards, they come into your hand for that turn, which is pretty cool. And you get more cards, you can get rid of your junk ones, all that kind of thing. I still love this game. It's fantastic every time. Nothing surprised me here other than the scoring tokens really suck. I hate those things. They are awful. Absolutely awful. But outside of that, I love everything about this game and glad that we got to play it again. So how'd you feel about Rococo this time?
I love Rococo, and I always have. And it's a very, I want to say, generous deck builder because of the fact
it really is.
That you can choose, and that when you buy a card, it goes into your hand. I just think there are so many ways, again, to score points. So I always love that. Because like Mike was leading heavy into like this particular master that allowed him to exchange money for points.
He got a lot of points from it.
And he did. And so the rest of us were doing maybe some different things. I was trying to do some in-game, they turned to be some in-game points for cards, which did not end up really working out in my favor, except I did have a decent amount of money. I absolutely see why the new Eagle Griffin reprint has the scoring track around it. I don't know why the original didn't, but it is terrible to keep score using like chit points.
Yeah, it's terrible, and there's not enough of them either, which is equally annoying.
Yeah, but this game is so great. Like, there's some programming and thinking ahead, and utilizing your resources. I love it as usual. It's so good.
Yeah, I think Bob and Mike both loved it, and Bob got a copy of the fancy one, so he clearly liked it.
Yeah,
jealous.
Me too.
All right, so moving on from Mike and Bob. We played some games with Katie's cousin and her husband. And one of the games that we busted out was a game we haven't played for a long time. I think it's on both of our at least top 200 list. And it's called Shakespeare. And this is a game about putting on a Shakespearean play in a theater. And what you're doing is you are recruiting actors or like stage people, designers, set designers, costume folks. And you are basically utilizing these people to move up on some tracks to make your 3 acts better, which are represented by these 3 different color feathers. And then you're trying to build a different a set on your little player board. It's going to score you points, but it has to be built symmetrically, which is interesting. You're trying to put costumes on your actors because at the end of, I think, round 4 and round 6, you're going to have a dress rehearsal. And if your actors have costumes, they're going to give you some kind of bonus as well. And in a good Euro game fashion, at the end of the game, everybody that you've hired has to be paid. So you better hope that you've made enough money to pay all these workers by the end of the game, or you're going to lose some mad points. It's a cool like bidding mechanism for turn order. And the people that you use in a certain round, everybody but one of them has to be rested so that they're not available the next round, which is pretty interesting. Tons of awesome stuff in this game, and I forgot how much I really do like it. It was clicking. It was good. I was having a good time. So I know you like Shakespeare, but how do you feel about this one? This play? Love it.
I loved it. I didn't do as well as I normally did, but I think we all scored pretty close.
Yeah, it was like a couple points apart, except for Amber. She was a little far back, but everybody else was close.
Yeah, it's so good. And I do really like the backstage expansion, and we played without it, and it was still really good. Again, multiple paths to victory. Jason was getting some like in-game like goal cards to kind of help him put points, because you're not getting big points here.
The score track only goes to 30. That's it.
Right. And we were not close to the end, really, when we scored.
I think the high score is 22, which for a whole game, that's not very much.
Right. And so you're scraping for points. Jeremy really leaned into set design. I leaned into costuming and getting a bunch of actors, utilizing the jeweler. So I love, again, you all know, it's like it's another one of my famous soapboxes, like multiple paths to victory. For me, that's just where it's at. And this game does it well. I really enjoyed it as always. And I love Shakespeare. So it's a twofer.
I don't know if I've done a video on this. I need to look.
Oh my gosh.
This needs to have a video done.
I mean, we're pretty okay, but seriously?
Because this game is real good.
It is real good.
I don't think I did do a video. How about that?
Oh my gosh. Guys, we're barely hanging in over here.
I don't know. I don't even game. What do I even know?
Yeah, what are we doing here? Why do people listen to us? Maybe they don't.
No, they do. I see it.
2 out of 10, do not recommend.
But anyway, those are 5 games that we played as opposed to normally doing 2 or 3. So there you go. So we're going to move on and talk about what we came here to talk about.
Okay, so I think Jason stole this particular topic from the Board Game Rundown, if I'm not mistaken.
I don't think so. It was stolen, but I don't think it was from them.
Oh, okay.
We'll say borrowed, because I didn't steal their games. I just stole the idea.
So Jason borrowed this from somewhere. I don't know where.
Somebody better than us.
I mean, Y'all know I don't watch videos or board game podcasts or any of that, because I'm real up on the research. But we want to talk about games with unique themes. Now, there are some themes in the hobby that are notorious. Like, we've got your space themes, which y'all know I hate. You've got your trading in the Mediterranean. Farming is fairly popular. There are just some go-tos. And they're great. I like many of those. But there are some games that they're really stretching it out there. So we each picked 5 games. Now, these aren't necessarily our favorite games of all time, but games that we like. We own. Do we own all these? All but one?
All except your number 5, yes.
Yes. So we own all but one of these. So 9 out of 10 games. We own them. But they have unique themes that you really aren't going to find anywhere else. So Jason's going to kick us off with his number 5.
All right, so my number 5 game is... I enjoy this game. It's not like my favorite game of all time, but I put it on here because it's a game about... It doesn't really say if it's crocheting or knitting. It just says crafting, but I think it's... I'm going to say crocheting, and it's called Ravels. And this is a game about collecting yarn and using that yarn to create like different types of crafts for your family as gifts. That's the theme. And you got this little worker meeple that you're moving around. You're going shopping for yarn. You're using the yarn so you can start crafting. You're going to be trying to go trade some yarn. You may have a special ability that lets you do some stuff. And you're just trying to build as much stuff as you can to score points. That's it. Not build, craft, crochet, knit, whatever. If we're going to stick to the theme, one of those things is a theme. But it's a theme that's not in a ton of games. Calico has a game. It's about making a quilt. That's as close as I know that exists. But as far as crocheting and knitting, I don't really know of a ton of games that had that theme. So in my book, that makes it pretty unique. So my number 5, Ravels.
Okay. Maybe Creature Comforts has some.
Maybe. Yeah, it's like they're crafting things, but it's not specifically like yarn or like, crocheting or knitting or whatever. Mm-hmm. Not like a real life theme, I guess.
Okay.
Yeah. But yeah, there are some other games that do it, but not specifically crocheting or knitting.
I'm not trying to poke holes in your theory. I was just thinking through it. My number 5 is a game we don't have, but it is a very unique theme because I feel like there aren't that many games about poop. And this game is not just about poop.
It plays a pretty big role, though.
Yeah, but it's about square poop. Square poop specifically left by wombats. And the game is Wombat Rescue. In Wombat Rescue, you play a wombat. And you are trying to get your baby wombats from like one location to like a different location. I don't know why, like a better nest or something. I'm not sure.
Yeah, I don't remember what the theme is, but there's a dingo or something, right?
Yeah, then you don't want the dingo to eat your baby.
Yeah.
Yeah.
The dingo ate your baby.
Right. So this game is just full of fun stuff, like dingoes eating your babies. So what wombats do, and this is based on real life, like this, it really is. Wombats will use the smell of their poop to kind of follow their trail back home. I don't know if they have poor eyesight. I think that's the case.
Yeah, I think so.
But not only that, wombats' poop is cubes. It's little cubes.
We Googled it for real. We
yes, for real life. If you don't believe me, we might have some Australian listeners who can also verify this. I feel like we talked about this before. Rosa, maybe?
Yeah, I think so. Yeah.
Mentioned it. Yes, legitimately square poo, like cubicle poo. That's not it. You don't say cubicle.
It poops in an office building.
I know. What is that? Cubic poo. Cubic. Anyway.
Cubicle poop. That's the subtitle. I got it.
Oh my gosh.
Cubicle poop.
This is what happens when you don't make an episode for 3 weeks. You just start talking crazy. Oh wait, that's every week. So it's a fun little game where you're laying out this trail of cute poo so that you can get your babies back home and keep the dingo from eating your babies. I mean, tell me another game where you're trying to keep the dingo from eating your baby and you're leaving cute poo. I can't think of a one.
No. This might be the only game about wombats and cute poop that exists.
It just, it makes me so happy. It's not, I don't love it. It's not an amazing game, but it's not a bad game either. And the theme is obviously awesome and unique. So my number 5 is Wombat Rescue.
Correct. The theme definitely I'm not big into theme, but this theme definitely brings it up because that's pretty awesome. I feel like if I made a trail of poop, I'll be able to find my way back to places.
Oh my gosh. No, the places wouldn't let you back in if you left a trail of poo.
If it was cute and square, they would.
No, your poo would never be cute and square.
You don't know how I poop.
Yeah.
All right.
The past 17 years have taught me nothing.
And we've derailed. My number 4, we're gonna be done with the poop talk. And this is a game about people dying. A good wholesome theme.
Oh, it's so better. Let's talk about dead bodies. I love it.
This may not necessarily be the most unique theme, but I think there's aspects of it that is unique. And that is Bring Out Your Dead. And this is a game about throwing your relatives on this grave digger cart and trying to bury them in a plot on one side or the other of a river. If you can't do that, then they get thrown in the river. That's the game. So you're trying to just, you're playing the simultaneous action selection. You're trying to get your cards, your coffins for your family members higher in priority to get off the cart first, because that gives you more options. You're trying to get this cart on the side of the river that you want, and you're just trying to score the most points. A little area control in each of the different grave sections. That's effectively the game. But I think it's kind of unique. I know there's a game called Village where you can bury people, but that's just a piece of the game. The whole point of this game is your family members died. You have a big family, and they've all died. There's this one grave digger cart, and he is trying to get your people into graves, and you got to bribe them or something. I think it's a fantastic theme. I like the game, and it always goes over well. It's ridiculous, and Monty Python jokes always happen. So there you go. My number 4, Bring Out Your Dead.
Okay, so my number 4 is also about dead bodies and burying them.
But in a different way.
So I'm not sure if that really counts as us really having unique picks.
Yeah, it's not the same at all.
I don't know. You guys be the judge. My number 4 is The Bloody Inn. This also based on fact about some innkeepers in France that were killing off their guests and burying them. And you can do it too in this game. It's through a really unique card play. This game, you always want to do more things than you can actually do. You need money to be... Yeah, it is money. No.
Yeah, you're earning money. Yeah.
Yeah, I know, but to recruit people.
Oh, you play cards from your hands that match symbols.
Yeah, so you're always wanting more cards and more turns, and it just is not going to happen. And so you are killing people off and burying them before the police find out, and that's really getting you money. There's an expansion. Is it called Carnies? Are we allowed to say that?
Yeah, the Carnies, yeah. I guess. I mean, the people that work at the carnival.
Well, but I feel like maybe Carnies is a derogatory term for people that work at a carnival.
You can call me a banky. I work at a bank. Same deal.
I don't think the subtext is there.
I mean nothing by calling somebody a carny other than it's a person that works at a carnival.
Uh-huh. This is going well. This is going well tonight. But anyway, yes. And then you've got traveling circus folk who show up and sometimes help you, or not, but it gives you more options, different cards, which is really cool. It's just crazy themed. The artwork is awesome. Is this We Were in Santiago?
It is, yeah.
Jason's favorite. Yeah, it's just like a hilarious, weird theme. I don't know if it qualifies as a completely separate theme from Bring Out Your Dead, because you didn't, the plague did the killing and Bring Out Your Dead. You are doing the killing, and then also the burying, and the burying is an important part. It's just done through a different way. So my number 4 is the Bloody Inn.
I mean, if the board game rundown guys can say a card that just has white on it is winter, these are different themes. Come on.
Yeah, but still, we may be just pretty okay, but we're better than them.
That's true. Oh, that's funny. I haven't ragged on them in a minute. All right, so
I
my
love
number
those
3.
guys. This is terrible because every time I see Tim on like his Whiskey Wednesday or whatever, he's always like, I just love Katie and Jason. They're such good people. Like, he always says the nicest things, and I'm like, those a-holes over at them.
They make fun of me plenty, so I don't let them sucker you in. They make fun of us just fine.
And honestly, I make fun of the board game rundown, but it never includes Tim. It always is Dan specifically,
and Mike,
and a little bit of Mike and Bob for good measure.
I make fun of Tim. I'm an equal opportunity make funner.
No.
Yeah. All right, so my number 3. I think this theme is different. I guess because it kind of takes a common theme and flips it on its head a little bit. And the game that I picked for number 3 is Demon Worker. And this is a game where you are basically like an evil minion in hell, like Satan. I think there's Satan, Beelzebub, Asmodeus, and I don't know who the other one is.
Oh, think about it.
There's 4 of them. 4 of the big dogs down in hell. And what you're trying to do is you are going to Earth, or you're sending demons to Earth to basically suck up human souls to complete contracts. And then you're going to be recruiting more demons. Some of these humans are going to come down. They're going to be new demons that are going to work for you. Hence the word demon worker. And you're going to keep growing your demon army to be led by Satan or Beelzebub or whatever. But ultimately, you're trying to go up to the surface and steal people's souls, eat their souls, because you need souls to complete the task that your overlord has given you for the job that you've been scheduled to do. That it's a weird theme. It's basically any worker placement game ever, but the theme really amps it up because all the goal cards have really weird names of what you're doing to them. Some of them are a little questionable, but I really like it. It's a funny theme. I don't want to play with everybody because playing as Satan is a little, it's a little much, but I like it. Fun theme, interesting, and not a lot of other games do that. So there you go. My number 3, Demon Worker.
I feel like you're remembering some of this game very differently than I am. But
that's what you do. You send your worker up to these spaces, and then they collect the souls.
But you also collect like slime and like other stuff. It's not just souls.
Yeah, but the slime is like weapons that are forged in hell. The souls are the things that you actually have to get from the actual humans.
Okay, well, and the things that you're doing, they're not questionable. It's like take over the world and stuff.
Some of them are maybe not questionable, like funny, silly and funny is what I should have said. Yeah, nothing questionable.
Well, I was like, that's two very different things, my friend.
Listen here, Cubicle Poop.
You're the one that said you want to make a trail of it, so don't be trying to throw stuff in my face.
Ew, Cubicle Poop in the face. We need to keep going.
Anyway, my number 3 is a unique theme. It has villains, which aren't necessarily unique, but in it, the villains are going on vacation. Because you know what? Villains need a break too. And that is Epic Resort. We do still have this game. We haven't played it for quite some time.
Yeah, I've been wanting to try it again. I want to try it again.
Yeah, it's not the best game in the world. I will tell you that.
It needs some streamlining. It's a little clunky.
It is a little clunky, but I think the theme is really funny. The card play is hilarious. Like there's like really fun art because you're like sending, these typical like villains, but they're doing like vacation activities, which I think is fun. I like that kind of little irreverent tongue in cheek thing. I am always a big fan of villains. They tend to be my favorites.
Well, you're not always the villain. That's the expansion. The actual theme is the heroes are on vacation, and they begrudgingly, when they're on vacation, end up protecting the buildings from things that are attacking.
What?
That's the base game does not have villains that you play as. But you can play as the villains in the expansion, and then they begrudgingly will team up with the heroes to defend and all that kind of stuff.
Okay, maybe I'm not remembering this game the same way you are. Are you sure?
Yeah, I just played it by myself a couple months ago.
Oh.
And
Well, then,
I read the theme a little bit.
maybe you should have picked Epic Resort and then I should have picked Demon Marker because I don't think we're doing this right.
Anyway, Epic Resort is a good theme. I agree with Katie's number 3.
There's still like villains and vacations and heroes too, for that matter, if you're into it.
Yeah.
But I haven't played this obviously for quite some time. Because the last time we played, I was like, it's okay. Because it's really
long. It's really long.
It's really long and it's a little bit clunky, but definitely fun, kind of whimsical theme there. Whatever it is, which I clearly don't know.
So wait till you hear my number 2. My number 2 is a game about farming.
Wait a minute.
That's pretty unique, right?
Yeah.
Well, it's sort of about farming.
We're going to have to send you to the board game rundown if you're going to put farming on a list about games with unique themes. Now, that is a Tim Aberley move right there.
It really is. So this is a game about, it's called Hens. This is a game about a farmer who feeds these chickens like crystal feeds or crystal grain, like grains that are like gem grains. And what's going to happen is these chickens lay Fabergé eggs. Okay, that's different. That's a different theme. No chickens laying a Fabergé egg. Effectively, it's you're moving chickens around, you're eating these different crystals or gems, and you're putting the gems on your Fabergé eggs in different groups to score points. That's it. That's the gist. But the theme is magical chickens eating magical grain, pooping out magical Fabergé eggs. So there you go.
Chickens don't poop eggs.
I know, it's funnier if they did.
You're just mad because you didn't get the game about poop.
That's true. I didn't even think about that. Yeah, that was a good one. So I'm just going to add poop into all mine as I go. But anyway, chickens laying Fabergé eggs. That's a funny theme. Yes, it's farming, but it's farming in a weird way. So I'm going with it. I'm doing a board game rundown here. And my number 2 is the Hens.
No, it would be like if you're like, oh, we're going to talk about farming. And I think a unique theme is farming, like, Agricola. That's a unique theme. No, honey, it's not.
Farming, the farming game.
No, or like Tim's going to pick like something that's like, oh.
About eating people.
Yeah, let's talk about eating people when I talk about food games. Okay. My number 2 is about books, which is not a super uncommon theme. I wish there were more because I love books. But this is about rescuing books from being burned up. Did I say that weird? Rescuing. Did I say West?
It sounded fine to me.
Okay.
I can't hear that well. So
I don't know. Who knows? Rescuing books from a fire. And that is Fire in the Library. I really like this game. This is a push your luck game where you are drawing cubes out of a bag. Or in my case, hallelujah, finally, I am drawing little book-shaped meeple thingies. What are those called? Bookles? No.
Yeah. I have no idea.
Beaks? No. Books?
I think the designer called them bookles. I think she might have called them bookles or something like that. Yeah, I don't know.
I don't know, but I love them. They make the game infinitely better for me.
I like the cubes.
You would. So you're pulling books out of the bag as you're trying to put them on your cart to save them from the fire that is in the library. But the fire is spreading as you're running in. It's just very tense and like I love a good push your luck game. Those are real popular around this joint. And you can get like items that help you in your quest to get all the books out. Certain books are going to be worth more points to you at different times. You also can pick turn order, and that is like, I don't, it's kind of an important decision because turn order dictates what kind of cart that you get to work with. How, like, if you run in right away, you don't know where the fire is. It's things are more dangerous. You're not aware. But if other people have gone in first, yeah, maybe there's not as good of books in the bag anymore, but you have a better idea of where things are, so you're allowed to make more mistakes, maybe, and pull more fire tokens. It's just it's really simple, but everything that you draw out, like, is super agonizing. And I just think the idea of saving books from a library, and like even the things that they give you, like you may get a bucket of water, or you may get a backpack that's going to help you carry an extra book out. An axe, like a fire axe, you maybe need to chop through some things to try and get to the books. I think the theme just really is super cool and not done maybe ever. So I love it. Fire in the Library, I'm on number 2.
Yeah, this is a good one. There aren't actually a lot of library games. I think we have like 3, but there aren't that many, really. And none about burning books up, that's for sure.
We don't condone book burnings here.
That's true. That's true. This is not Nam.
There are rules.
There are rules. My number 1, speaking of rules, we have procedures and other things that these people do.
Wow, that is like the worst segue. You could have talked about how you had jury duty last week, and that would have fit a lot better than what you just said.
That's true. You're right. I did have jury duty.
Try again.
My number 1.
Rewind.
No, I'm not rewinding. I'm pressing on. My number 1 is actually the first game I put on the list because I don't know any other game that has this theme. And the game is Lawyer Up. And this is a game about a trial. You're putting on a different trial. One player is going to play the prosecution. One player is going to play the defense. And there's different kinds of cases. And what you're trying to do is you are trying to, if you're the prosecution, you're trying to win, to sway all the jurors in your favor, just like a regular court case. If you're the defense, most of the time, there are some cases that do different rules. You just need to have a juror that is not quite convinced of what the prosecution is telling them, and you're doing that through this interesting card play. You're building this tug of war card row between the two players, and you're playing these different icons on the card. So if there's a card down that has a skull and the scales of justice, I can play a card next on top of that has one of those two symbols. You always have to play a card that matches the symbol in front of you. Some of the cards will give you like different types of influence points. If the card's on top of the stack and you have the most influence points, and you'll get the win condition. If it's on top of the stack and you've lost the case and it has a negative ability, you may get that. So you're always looking at that. You can do sidebars with the judge to get their favor to be able to draw cards. It's a really fun game. It's actually not super deep to play. You're basically just playing a card to that like timeline, trying to have more influence than your opponent. But the theme is fantastic. Like, all the cards are super thematic. They have like pictures of evidence. They may have arguments. They may have like procedural pieces that go along with court cases. Super thematic. All the cases work differently, and it had to be my number 1 because I don't know any other game about it at all. So my number 1, Lawyer Up.
Yeah, I don't know why there's not more law games or like court. I mean, in a way, some deduction games are kind of based around that, but usually it's like, oh yeah, I found the killer, and you're not going through the case proving it.
You're just like a homemade detective trying to do the thing. Yeah.
Yeah, this is a two player only game.
Correct. Yeah, I didn't mention that, but yeah, only 2 players.
Yeah. My number 1 is a game I've played a lot. I really like it. And while there are lots of games about beer and spirits and that kind of thing, I don't know that there are a lot of games about going on a pub crawl. So I think there might be at least another one. Maybe.
I mean, the only other game I can even think of that has to do with beer is Distilled, and then we have On the Rocks. But those are just about making drinks.
There's the one, like, small brew game, like...
Home brewers.
Yeah.
Yeah, you're just making beer there.
What, brew crafters and...
Yeah, again, just making beer. So it's mostly always about making beer, not...
Yeah.
Doing
Belgian Beers Race is where you are going around Belgium. Shocking. And instead of leaving square poo, you are leaving
you
your
might leave
markers.
square poo.
I would hope not. There's like a whole thing about how the square poo is formed in their intestines. It's very interesting. Did a lot of in-depth research on that about the wombats. But in Belgian Beers Race, you are going to these different breweries. You can you can taste the beer there. You can buy some bottles of beer. Some places will also make cheese that you can buy as well. And you can get around different ways. You can ride a bike. You can ride a bus. Yes, ride a bus.
Yep. And hitchhike.
You can hitchhike. Or can you walk?
No, riding a bike is the only thing that you can do.
It's too far. It's too far to walk.
Yeah, everything else is too far.
Meanwhile, you can meet other people, you can have a toast, you can collect coasters, lots of like fun stuff. And the thing I like about this game is this is actually a really good game. There are multiple paths to victory on this, which as I have said at least 3 times already in this podcast. That's my jam. So if you want to collect all like the different bottles of beer and get your backpack filled up, all this stuff, that's something you can do. If you want to like hit all the, like, there's a lot of different in-game goals, and there's also end-game goals that you can use to get points. However, as you are drinking and meeting people and toasting, you become intoxicated. And then certain methods of transportation are no longer available to you. If you're too drunk, they will not pick you up or put your butt on the bus. You miss your stop. You can no longer bike safely. So we're not going to be causing an accident. You have got to use some other means of transportation. Also, if you get too drunk, you pass out. Inevitably, every time I play this game, I pass out on the first day before I get to the end of my turns. Every time. I try not to, but I do it every time. It's just so exciting. I want to do all the things the first day, and then I pass out. This is such a good game, and that idea of planning a route building is big in lots of games, but I'm planning a route to see these breweries. Am I getting collector type items? How am I also mitigating my alcohol levels? Can I get some cheese to help take that down? Can I sit in the bus maybe a little longer? Am I going to miss out on stuff that I really need? Just lots of really great choices. There are some like fiddly little rules. So once you know it, then it's like, this game is such a blast to play. But it does take a little bit of learning to get you there. I taught this once and it was a unmitigated disaster.
It's a hard teach. It really is a hard teach.
It is. And I was not, I think, fully prepared to teach. I was certainly not prepared to teach a lawyer.
I wonder how Patrick if he likes lawyer up.
That's a great question to ask him. But yeah, I don't want to teach a game that I know that little about ever again. But I really enjoy this game. We actually haven't played it for a while, and I've been thinking, man, we need to get that back out because it is such a good game. So that is my number 1 of unique themes, Belgian Beers Race.
Yeah, that is a cool theme. It's always about making beer, but never really about consuming it. And especially not about getting drunk and passing out. That doesn't exist.
I mean, you don't have to pass out, but somehow
that's true. It sometimes it just happens.
Yeah. So those are 5 games from each of us. So 10 games total that we think have really kind of unique themes. And I know there are more out there. We really try to stick with ones that we own, that we're really familiar with, except for me, because Epic Resort, I obviously know nothing about. But if you have your own, games you're like, oh, they didn't mention this, and I can't believe they didn't think about it. If you mention trading in the Mediterranean, if you mention farming, if you mention space, if you mention, I'm trying to think of other popular things, I will yell at you. So
did you say nature?
Nature, sure.
Nature's the new hotness, for sure.
It is. So don't do that, because I'll be like, I'll call you out, be like, no, dummy. That if you just want to argue about a theme and you have like real legitimate, like you want to lawyer up it and really give me something good to fight about, go for it. I like that too. As long as you got some reasoning. If you're gonna be dumb, you better be tough. That's all I got to say.
If you're gonna be dumb, you got to be tough and pretty. Tough and pretty.
Yeah. So I'd love to hear unique theme games. I like those. I think there are others that we could have picked, but I always like to find more, because I just think there's something fun about that, about putting a theme that nobody ever sees into a game and seeing how it works. So definitely find us on any of our socials and talk to us about unique theme games that you think of.
Yeah, I know Richard said Retreat from Darkmoor was a unique theme where the bad guys are trying to run away from the dungeon, which is pretty cool. But yeah, I totally like hearing your comments on the show, comments on videos. Keep all that coming. Go to X, post some stuff, Instagram, all the stuff. Yeah, go do all the things with all the stuff. And if you comment, I will definitely comment back. There you go.
Yes, and I'm gonna. Maybe I need to
Katie will not.
I will not. Sometimes I do. I only get on the Facebooks.
Yeah, that's true.
So, otherwise, I probably won't see. I won't. Otherwise, I will not see it for sure. Number one, and number two, I do try to respond, but then sometimes like the Facebooks, I'm an elder millennial, okay? So when I get on the Facebooks and it's like, oh, so-and-so comment on your post, I'm like, okay, cool. So I want to go reply, but then it like switches me over to the Board Game Mechanics account, and Jason's always commenting from that or liking from that, and I can't do that because then it unlikes it or it double comments, and it's not the same thing, and I want you to know that it's me, so I gotta like find it again on my page and then go to it, and it's a whole thing.
I just do it from there because when I click on it, it redirects me to the Board Game Mechanics. I just make the comment and then I flip back. It's
I know.
Easier.
So you get there first. So then I cannot do it that way. So really, it's all your fault that I can't respond to things.
It is my fault. It's my fault. Yes.
Okay. I just want to make that clear with everyone. But I do see the Facebook ones, and then Jason usually tells me, he doesn't usually, but if you specifically say something to me on any of the other platforms, he will tell me.
Yeah, if they directly are for you, I tell you. Yeah.
I know, but I mean, it's not like you're telling me all the comments that come in on other platforms.
Oh, no. Because most of them are just, yeah, this game is good, and stuff like that. Like, yeah.
Well, and also, honestly, like, if you say something mean, I will get mad if Jason tells me, or I will harp on it for, like, an eternity. So I think he basically saves me from myself and doesn't tell me.
The last time somebody said something mean, they were complaining that we didn't know about Martin Wallace, and I did a 15-minute troll video of why I hate Martin Wallace. That was fun.
I don't know that I think they were just genuinely confused.
It might have been, but he did comment later, and he's like, I do appreciate that my comment spurned a whole troll video. Well done. Which I think is pretty funny.
Yeah, you are nothing but not ready with the trolling videos. That's for sure.
I love troll videos. They're fun.
You would. Okay. Before this devolves into usual madness, actually more than we've already had up to this point. I think we're gonna have to sign off. So I'm Katie.
And I'm Jason.
Keep gaming, everybody.
Keep gaming.
Really? Wait, it's been 3 weeks and you think I'm going to change it up at the end here?